The Galactic Council chamber fell into an eerie quiet as Ambassador Chen Wei stood before the assembled representatives of 200 civilizations. The holographic display behind her flickered to life, and what it showed made the oxygen-breathing delegates gasp, while the methane breathers released clouds of shocked vapor. "Impossible," whispered High Curator Zelthor of the Vryn Ascendancy, his crystalline form refracting light in patterns that betrayed his distress. The Vryn had held dominion over dark matter research for 12 millennia. They had built their entire civilization on the principle that they alone understood the invisible scaffolding of the universe. Chen Wei smiled, a gesture that the translators interpreted for species without facial muscles. "I assure you, High Curator, it is quite possible. The Terran Confederation presents to the Council our dark matter fleet." The hologram zoomed across light years of space, revealing what sensors had missed for the past 3 decades. Ships, thousands upon thousands of vessels, each one constructed from matter that interacted with normal particles only through gravity. They were invisible to every scanning technology known to galactic science. Undetectable shadows that had been watching, waiting, positioned at strategic points throughout Council space. Commander Thrace of the Pelion Guard clenched her 4 hands into fists. "This is an act of war. You have positioned weapons throughout sovereign territories." "Have we?" Chen Wei's voice remained calm, measured. "Our fleet has been there for 32 years. In all that time, have we fired a single shot? Violated a single border? Committed one hostile act?" She paused, letting the question hang in the recycled atmosphere. "No. We've simply been present, watching as the galaxy went about its business." The truth was more complex than the ambassador revealed. Humanity had stumbled onto dark matter manipulation almost by accident, a byproduct of experiments conducted in Earth's deep space research stations. While the Vryn had studied dark matter as an academic curiosity, humans had approached it with their characteristic recklessness and ingenuity, asking not, "What is this?" but "What can we do with it?" The answer had terrified Earth's leadership. With dark matter construction, humanity could build vessels that were functionally invisible, that could pass through normal matter like ghosts through walls, that required no conventional fuel and generated no heat signature. Ships that could appear anywhere, anytime, without warning. General Akari Sato had stood before the UN Security Council 15 years prior and spoken words that now echoed through history. "We have created the perfect weapon," she had said, "and therefore we must never use it. Our fleet will be humanity's shield, our guarantee that we will never again be vulnerable to the predations of older, more established species." Humanity remembered its first contact. The Krellian Empire had arrived in Sol System with demands for submission, resources, and territorial concessions. Earth, still struggling with fusion drives and chemical rockets, had been helpless. The occupation had lasted 7 years, 7 years of subjugation and exploitation, before the Galactic Council had finally intervened and imposed regulations on younger species treatment. The Council had called it protective custody. Humans had called it humiliation. Never again, they had sworn. Never again would humanity be at the mercy of those who wielded superior technology. Now, Elder Voss of the Council's Oversight Committee floated forward, his ancient form suspended in a gravity harness. "You have deceived us, Ambassador Chen. You have built weapons in secret while proclaiming peace. Have we built weapons?" Chen Wei's eyes swept across the assembled delegates. "Or have we built deterrents? Every species in this chamber possesses planet killers. The Vryn have their matter converters. The Krellians maintain antimatter arsenals. The Delphine Collective controls gravitic collapse devices. Yet when humanity seeks to ensure our own security, we are called warmongers." She activated another display. This one showed communication intercepts, planning documents, military assessments from a dozen council species, all dated within the past 2 years, all discussing potential military action against human colonies in border regions. The Sorvak Federation planned to annex our mining outposts in the Kepler Belt. The Vryn Ascendancy intended to seize our research stations, claiming proprietary rights to technologies we developed independently. The Krellians, she turned to face their delegation directly, drew up invasion plans for Earth itself, arguing that a species as dangerous and unpredictable as humanity required preemptive containment. The chamber erupted in denials, protests, accusations. Chen Wei waited for the chaos to subside. Our dark matter fleet, she continued, her voice cutting through the din, has prevented these actions not through violence, but through presence. Every species that considered aggression against humanity received a simple message. We are watching. We are there, and if you strike at us, you will discover that the prey you thought helpless has teeth. Commander Jalith of the Delphine Collective, whose people had always maintained cordial relations with humans, spoke thoughtfully. You could have destroyed us all. Invisible ships positioned at our homeworlds, capable of striking without warning. Why reveal yourselves now? Chen Wei's expression softened slightly. Because deterrence only works if your adversaries know it exists. We've spent 3 decades proving that we can be trusted with this power. Not one dark matter vessel has acted aggressively. Not one has interfered with legitimate commerce or governance. We built this fleet not to conquer, but to ensure that humanity would never again kneel. She gestured to the holographic display, which now showed human colonies scattered across dozens of systems. Farming worlds, research stations, trade hubs, art colonies. We are builders, not destroyers. But we learned a hard lesson during the Krellian occupation. The galaxy respects only strength. Peaceful intentions mean nothing without the power to enforce them. High Curator Zelthor's crystalline form had ceased its agitated refraction. When he spoke, his tone carried a note that the translators rendered as grudging respect. You have evolved beyond our expectations. We thought humanity still childlike, impulsive, bound by emotion rather than logic. We are emotional, Chen Wei acknowledged. We feel deeply, love fiercely, and remember eternally. That's not weakness, High Curator. That's what drives us to protect what we cherish with such absolute determination. Elder Voss raised a trembling appendage. What does humanity want from this revelation? What are your demands? No demands, Chen Wei replied. Only a request: treat us as equals, not as children to be supervised, not as threats to be contained, but as partners in building a galaxy where all species can flourish according to their own nature. Our dark matter fleet will remain operational, a guarantee of human sovereignty, but it will also remain peaceful, so long as peace remains possible. The silence that followed was different from before, not the shocked quiet of revelation, but the contemplative stillness of species forced to recalibrate their understanding of the galaxy's power dynamics. Finally, Commander Jalith spoke again. The Delphine Collective proposes a motion that humanity be granted Tier 1 status within the Council, with full voting rights and security guarantees. One by one, other delegates voiced their support. Even the Krellians, though their agreement came through clenched mandibles. As the council session concluded, and ambassadors filed out in clusters of whispered conversation, Elder Voss approached Chen Wei privately. Your species frightens us, he admitted. Such power wielded by being so young. Chen Wei nodded slowly. We frighten ourselves sometimes, Elder. That's why we've been so careful. Humans know what happens when power runs unchecked. Our own history taught us that lesson in blood. She looked out at the stars visible through the chamber's transparent dome. Somewhere out there, invisible to every sensor, the dark matter fleet maintained its eternal vigil. We don't seek domination, she said quietly. We seek only the right to stand tall in a galaxy that once forced us to our knees. And we will never ever kneel again. The galaxy had stood frozen in silence when humanity revealed its secret. Now it would have to learn to live with the knowledge that the youngest species among them had become impossible to ignore, impossible to intimidate, and absolutely determined to forge their own destiny among the stars.